Good evening, everyone. My name is Lily Liu, and today we are gathered for the sixth episode of 2025 of my series on Reimagine, which is called Let Me Interview You. We are so honored this evening to have one of the leading modern Chinese poets. Fei Ma is his pen name. His name in English is Dr. William Marr. Dr. Marr, won't you please say a few words of greeting to our audience?
Thank you. Well, thank you for the invitation. I was born in Taiwan and spent my childhood in China. When I was 12 years old, I returned to Taiwan and went to school there. Then after the graduation from college, I came to United States. And then I received my master's degree from Marquette University in Milwaukee and my Ph.D. degree in nuclear engineering from Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin. Afterwards, I worked for Argonne National Laboratory on the research in energy and environmental research systems. But then I decided to retire early. Well, 62 years old, I retired because I really want to spend more time on my hobbies, poetry and paintings and sculpture and music. Okay. So, but afterwards, so I spend most of my time in retirement on this kind of stuff. Okay.
Yes, well, I had teased Dr. Marr. I put photos in of all these machines from his old workplace. So you can imagine to have a right brain, left brain, it's going to be such a treat for us to see his creativity. I have put on the slide just some information about how prolific he has been. But beyond poetry and translations, Dr. Marr is also a painter as well as a sculptor. So tonight we'll have quite a treat. Dr. Marr, this is the slide that I wanted you to kindly tell us, please. Where did your pen name Fei Ma come from? Is there a short story?
Well, in Chinese, Bai Ma, Fei Ma is white horse. It's not horse. And my last name is horse.
Yeah, Ma.
Chinese name horse. Okay, Ma.
Ma. Yeah.
But you know why I am M-A-R-R? A friend of mine, my classmate, I didn't plan to come to United States.
Oh.
I worked in Taiwan in sugar factories, but then one day he told me that he put my name in the application to come to take the exam, to oversee exam. Okay, but he changed my name into M-A-R-R. Then after that, I passed the exam. Okay, and I tried to change back to M.A. They said, no, you cannot do that. So I'm stuck with it. Now, the William is, you can find it too, because my Chinese name is Wei Yi. Wei Yi is not William. Then I talked to a pastor from the United States in Taiwan, working there. I said, well, what kind of name should I use? First name, what's your name? I said, Wei Yi. He said, Wei Yi, William. So he gave me William. So I took the William. So my name became William Marr.
Well, your name is famous all over the world, sir, because of your prolific talent. I wanted to show everyone just the essays and translations that Dr. Marr has done already fill up this page. and look at how many collections of poetry that he has already written. So we're in for quite a treat. And I did want to note that he is so well known. You saw a little while ago that I said Dr. Marr is part of a state society for poetry. Many of the Asian Americans do not have a chance to mix with the communities that they're living and working in. So I was very proud to see Dr. Marr taking part in a local community poetry society. Dr. Marr, I'm going to first quote this very famous American poet. And before I do that, I wanted to acknowledge that Ms. Miho Kinnis, who is one of the foremost Japanese American poets based in South Carolina, has joined us. So later we'll have lots of discussion among all you creatives. So Gwendolyn Brooks, who has really been the first African American to receive a Pulitzer Prize, had noted of Dr. Marr, Marr's voice is refreshingly strange, and he can undoubtedly bring some of his unique cultural heritage and experience into the American poetry scene. And you have certainly done that. Did you meet Ms. Brooks in person, Dr. Marr?
No, she lived in Chicago too, but I think we talked over the phone a couple of times. We never had a chance to meet each other. But yeah,
Well,
I wasn't quite sure. You know, when I read her article in Chicago Tribune, I wasn't quite sure. She is when she said that the strange, refreshing strange. I thought, gee, maybe I did something when I say something that is strange to her. It could be, but anyway, we become very good friends, and we talk to each other very often. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Poetry and art cross different communities and cultures. So I'm really glad that you represented the Chinese Americans. Now, may we begin to enjoy your poetry. Can you all see the screen clearly, everyone? Yes? Good. So, Dr. Marr, we will enjoy your recitation, please.
Okay. The title is a photograph. The shutter flashes, your instant smile. In a mildewed evening years later, you stare at the yellow album and sigh, happy days are gone. You know, when I wrote this one here, I know lots of people that they put on a smile for the camera, but right after the camera flash, the smile is gone. That's why I wrote this one here.
Beautiful.
Ironic. Okay.
You have a very unique perspective. This is one of my favorites because we're on the platform of loss and grief and renewal. And this one is a beautiful one. Please.
Okay. Trees, 4 seasons. Spring. Bury the wrinkles of time deep in the bottom of your heart. Every time I see you, you are as young as ever. Summer. Lofty season. A thick-plumed bird on a branch looks about perkily, just as it should be. Green, everything green. Autumn. Loud and clear. Is it a screech of an insect, frightened at the sudden solitude, or a ringing in the hollow ears after the noisy festival? Winter. When he grabs, there's nothing left but the last leaf. In the howling north wind, the old man, laughing bitterly, releases the leaf and mutters, "Go, go, all of you, go. Fly high and go far away." Okay, thank you.
Wow, that one's powerful. Please feel free, because I'm not able to see everyone on the screen. If you have a question or a comment, feel free to either put it in the chat or just open up your mic and offer some appreciation. This one I love.
Summer, lofty season. A thick plumed bird on a branch look about perkily. Just as it should be. Green, everything green. Now this painting is my painting too. It's called A Brilliant Morning. It's acrylic on paper.
Yes, it's been so interesting. I took the liberty of pairing things. I felt like I was taking wine and cheese and pairing. I had so much fun putting them together.
Thank you.
Have anyone in particular, Dr. Marr, the woman?
No, not really. I just painted.
It just speaks to me of summer.
Sharing an umbrella. Sharing an umbrella, I suddenly realized the difference between us. It bending over to kiss you gives me such joy as you try to meet me halfway on tiptoe. Now, there's funny for this poem. There's one funny story that a lady read the poem and asked me, why women have to be lower, I mean, shorter than men.
Can I ask a question?
Anyway.
Charles, please go ahead. Something sparked.
Just a question. I'm really interested in the paintings, obviously, but in the next, go back to the next poem that he was about to read, the one called forward, that one. Sharing an umbrella. Is there love interest in these pieces? Or is this just observing lovers? I see love in a lot of these pieces.
Well, it's love. Basically, we're talking about, under the sun, under the umbrella, sharing, in the rain, the sharing umbrella together.
But my question is this a love interest in your life?
Yes.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Well, with my wife, or maybe, yeah. Well, mostly it's about my life. Most poems is about my life. So it's kind of records of my life, okay? Mostly, okay. Yeah.
Question. Although in American English, we say, you don't kiss and tell. How do we say that in Chinese?
Okay. The autumn window. Now that she is middle-aged, my wife likes to stand before the window and comb her hair. Her only makeup a trace of cloud, the landscape of a graceful, poised maturity.
Oh, that's a beautiful.
I use this poem as the first English poem book as the title, Autumn Window.
And your painting is actually titled
Autumn Window too. Yes.
Beautiful.
I'm crazy about that paint. I hate to cut across you, but I just get charged when I get into this kind of stuff. I'm crazy about that painting. It reminds me of the technique of Marc Chagall. Are you familiar with the artist?
Yep.
Right.
And his blue cow or whatever that one was. Mm-hmm. But these images and the different techniques you're using with the paint, the first painting is thickly applied oil. Yeah, maybe that's oil or acrylic. Style and very free flowing, whereas the one with that one,
this one here, I think I probably, when I learned the painting, I try to copy the painting from artists, from the great artworks. So this is probably part of it. Okay.
It also has the long neck of a Modigliani.
Yes.
You're speaking the same language. See, this is why I invited you, Mr. Charles. I'm so glad that it crosses cultures, and I'm so glad you all have the same language. Thank you.
And just diverse styles are really amazing. You're very talented.
Yeah.
And a nuclear engineer.
Yes, that's just,
Okay, a good old couple with the sweet juice of love. They first nurture together a happy and healthy life. In order not to let the loved one suffer from the grief of bereavement and the following desolate loneliness, they both made up their minds secretly never to leave the world before the other.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, that's a powerful piece there.
Of
that
course,
really is.
also,
I'm agreeing. That's pretty intense.
both try not to. I mean, really. I mean, if possible, we'll try not to leave the world before the other, because it's too much sadness for the one to suffer. Really.
You know, that can also apply to a modern day. I don't mean to bring my personal life into it, but just over the last maybe 2.5 years, I've lost my son, my only son, and a wife of some years ago. And in each of those instances, I never saw that they would leave this world before me. Even though I guess your poem speaks to an unspoken language amongst the two who are referred to in this poem, who have promised secretly, as you say, to not leave the other, to not leave the world before the other.
Right.
And that's kind of the bond that I guess parents have about children, or in this case, a husband and a wife have about each other.
Right.
That's a good piece.
Yeah, it's very deep. And I'm sure Jeannie, who's on from the Chinese coalition that works with Chinese Americans and the end of life, this one really resonates. So I need to acknowledge a few others who have come in. So because I can't see everyone, I greet you and thank you for joining us. And now I wanted to surprise all of you because look.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I got married in Milwaukee and then I went to Wisconsin for honeymoon. This is the picture I dropped. Yeah. And then later on, I painting for my wife and myself.
And there's no yellow in the painting after all these years.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Referring to your first poem about photos.
Yes. Exactly. That's why I wanted to surprise everyone with his images after, so it all resonates.
Okay, retirement. 1. At last, you can call the clouds, the birds, the squirrels, the flowers, the trees, and millions of other things by their first name. As now he too is qualified for membership in ANRB, the Association of Never Retired Beings. 2, with a vacant step, he's surprised to find under his feet the exercise wheel in the cage has turned into a firm, level ground, where children after school serenely scatter to find their respective life adventure. That's my idea of retirement. Yeah.
What does 1 and 2 represent? Why did you divide it up as 1 and 2?
Oh, well, because the 2 is different idea.
Well, there are 2 different pieces that are called retirement?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Usually, for the same topic, I sometimes had several ideas. So,
Gotcha.
but they're different. So
Okay.
I separate them into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Okay.
Some of them in 10, something like that.
Wow. Yes, for those of you who've joined us a little later, you're starting to get an understanding of my vision of why I host these. I'm just fascinated by the association of never retired beings who I have met who've gone on from the paid work to follow passion and purpose. So thank you so much for joining us, because we truly have a rare treat tonight with not only Dr. Marr as our featured speaker, but an audience of those of you who understand what it means to always be learning and questing. And so this is why Dr. Marr is such a great example. I wanted to note that many people have put the juxtaposition of his creativity with what he was as a paid nuclear scientist. So someone in his local paper called Dr. Marr the nuclear poet. And in a way that works really well for me, Dr. Marr, because you're like a atom within an atom within an atom, so many different things, and you have a POW.
Okay, the next poem I'm going to read is Evening Smokestack. The old man frantically puffs his pipe under the dying sky, trying desperately to make another ring of smoke. Now, I wrote this poem, actually part of it, because I really think that we need to do something about the chimney and smokestacks, because the pollution is really too severe. So I wrote part of the poem partly because of that. Okay.
You know, but Dr. Marr, I don't think of this one as climate change. I think of this one as life change and a metaphor for man trying to keep going.
Yes.
So powerful. I was an English major, so I'm going to start dissecting all your poems.
Well, no, I try to put many different way of thinking into one poem. So different people with different background can get different things out of it. Okay, this is part of it. Okay.
Would you like to take a break and just drink a little bit of water? And feel free, apologies, because the way I have my screen set up, I can't greet everyone. But if you'd like to just unmic and make a few comments. Miho, thank you for taking time out of your busy night to join us. As a Japanese American, but mostly Japanese heritage poet, what have you felt so far from seeing Dr. Marr's work? I hope Miho's still here. I can't see the squares. Sorry. There she. Oh, nope. Okay, maybe she had to drop because, yes, I think she had to because she just had a new grandbaby. So no worries. I think she got called away. Okay. This one is, I think you're all beginning to see a theme of the chronology of life and the chronology of Dr. Marr. We don't have them in any chronological order, just thematic for this Reimagine platform. Please go ahead, Dr. Marr.
Okay. Now the autumn is here. Now that autumn is here, it's hard to avoid biting insects and pecking birds. But he finds it impossible to mourn. No sooner has a wound opened up than it's filled with sweet juice.
Mm.
It's autumn.
I kind of, I'm not quite getting the connection there with autumn and insects biting. I would think that would be more like spring.
Autumn, I thought, lots of insects, more insects than summer. Yes?
Oh, really? That must be a geological thing, a geographic thing.
Yeah. I think probably.
Okay.
Okay. It's in Taiwan.
Got you.
Okay, yeah.
So some of these are early ones. So please, this is a good time to ask you, when did you actually start writing poetry in your life?
Oh, actually, I started very early. I probably give you an interesting story. When I was born in Taiwan, then went back to China for my childhood. And in my fourth grade in grade school, there's a severe drought in southern China. And the soil was so dry that cracked. So every day there's praying activities. And our teacher asked us to each write an article or composition to pray for rain. So we did. And then we handed it in. But next morning, when I went to school, I saw in the bulletin board, there's several postings. There's a poem with my name on it. I said, wait a minute, I didn't write a poem. But it turned out that my teacher changed my composition into a poem, the shape of poem. And it happens that my uncle, he was a businessman in Southern Asia, came home for vacation, and he read it and so liked it so much that he will read it to his friends for visitors. And that is very good, very large encouragement for a child.
Yes.
So after that, I really like to really get into the poetry, interested in poetry. But then the next year, my grandmother died. And my uncle said, let's make the funeral simple and save the money. He used the money saved to purchase lots of books, newly published books, donated to my school. And the school, because that the school let me work in the library. Yes. And every day I can borrow more than one book. Usually there's a limitation. One student can only one book a day. But for me, there's no restriction. So I borrow lots of books and read morning and evening outside the front door of the house every day. And before I went back to Taiwan, when I was 12 years old to go to school there, I almost finished all the books, reading all the books. And that really helped me. Okay, so that is get me into the poetry. Okay, there's lots of books about poetry or literature and folk tales, everything like that. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that story. Number one, because in our audience, we have so many who will understand the impact that an adult can have on a child. Marie, as a educator, Mr. Charles, who really paints about and creates about intergenerational ties, and Deb Kanja, who is the daughter of one of the leaders who has passed away from AARP. Her late mother had started a camp with her husband, our friend's father. And it shows all these years later how all these campers, the boys, have stayed in touch and made the difference that these two persons had on their lives well known. So later, Deb will have a chance to tell us about her experience. But it takes someone older to mentor a child. Thank you for sharing. I hope this recording you will share with your sons so they know. But then to flip the coin, Dr. Marr, how did you then go into nuclear science? I know that Taiwan, you have to test. And once you test into the stream, you really can't leave it. Did you not have a choice? Were you just good at math, so they pushed you into the sciences?
Yes, because at that time there's no other choice. Okay. And when I get in there, I didn't know that it's so boring when I get into the engineering college, because they don't have any literary classes at all. Okay, but then I several friends of classmates and I get together and we publish a magazine, and I was editor of the magazine. But we couldn't find any people to write, so I had to write them. Thus, I started writing it. Okay. Then another interesting thing that later on, I met a young poet from Taiwan. Okay. And then after I came here in the United States, he became an editor of a poetry magazine. He asked me to translate American poetry into Chinese for him to publish every other month on the magazine. That kind of forced me to get into the poetry things. When I had to translate, I read a lot of poems. I mean, books, everything. I bought lots of books, everything, and then translated. And so I kind of started my writing too.
Well, that also shows what a innovative leadership role you had in the Taiwan literary scene. We're so fortunate to have you because you're really one of the gods, and the kids say the OGs of Chinese modern poetry. This one is just beautiful.
Bird and wings, struggling to follow his wings in the wind, a tired bird. Now you can see the shape of it, almost like a bird flying, right? I try to, now most of my poems are very short. So I try to make the form that can carry some of the meaning too, okay?
Concrete poetry, yes, the shape has something to do with it. Beautiful. And just to take a moment, because as we look at the age of the, what is it, the Association of Non-Retired Beings, it is truly, as many people say, the sunset of life, but you have done so much with this third age of your life.
Oh, wow.
The next one.
I'm sorry, but my ears are ringing right now as you're talking.
You know why I wrote this here? I was in China, in Taiwan, after I graduated from college. You have to serve in the army for 2 years. And I served and then I had this, after half-year training, I have to serve as a captain in the army to train a new soldier. Then one day I teach the new soldier to how to shoot, okay, the target shooting. But I didn't know that because it's, the night before there's rain and so there's wet on the ground. He moves. Usually we have separation, some proper separation, but he moved close to me and shoot around my right ears. And after that, my ears ringing every day until now, even right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I can't do anything about that. So I wrote this in here.
And now I have a healthy reason to I help veterans with benefits to tell them that, hey, just look at tonight as a reminder that the world and I are still alive. This is nice. Thank you. But go ahead, read your poem. I'm sorry.
Ringing noisily, day and night, just to remind me the world and I are still alive.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of stuff that we have to take this kind of attitude because sometimes you cannot do anything, right? So have to take it. So I think that's this one poem that I wrote about that.
Dr. Marr, I also, when I saw that, remind the world that I'm still alive, I think of ringing sometimes, of course, as ringing of bells, as a sound of joy to still be alive. So that's how I heard it. And I love that contrast that you have there.
Right.
So thank you.
That's nice. Yeah, Taiwan has a mandatory conscription for 2 years. So that's why the young men were not allowed to come abroad to get their graduate degrees
Right.
later. So had you already met your wife in Taiwan, Dr. Marr?
No. You know that things the way everything is on change. I borrowed some money from a friend before I came here, because you have to show the immigrant that you have a check.
Yes.
You can for the first year. Okay, so I don't have money. So I borrowed a check from a friend of mine. He was working in Milwaukee. So after I came here, I went to Milwaukee to return the check to him. And he said, why don't you, I applied for Ohio University. Okay, supposed to go to Ohio University. He said, why don't you try the Marquette University? So I talked to the department head of Marquette University. They said, sure, well, we just have a applicant that he couldn't come here anymore. So we have one spot. You might take it. So he gave it to me. So I get the assistantship from Marquette University, and my wife is also came 1 week later to Marquette. She had a scholarship from Marquette University. We met together and we know each other and we fell in love. Then we get married. So everything is so
by chance. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not planned, nothing really. Life, I think, it really is so lots of changes. You really can't plan that fixed.
Yeah, just like Gwendolyn Brooks said, your life has been.
I wrote quite a few poems in this way. Okay.
We'll have you back for Valentine's Day then. But Dr. Marr reflects the life of an immigrant from Asia, because in 1965, President Johnson signed the Immigration and Nationality Act. So only then could these, what we would now call the higher educated immigrants could come out. So Taiwan, everybody was able to come out and get PhDs and everything. So Dr. Marr really is a blend of East and West.
Okay, a naughty old boy. I wrote this one here for my old artist friend, Mr. Huang Yongyu. Huang Yongyu was very famous artist. He passed away over 100 a couple of years ago. Okay, and this is his house. He invited me to visit his house and put 3 or 4 of my poems on stone grave on the stone in the garden. Okay, so we're very good friends. But anyway, I wrote this poem for him. A naughty old boy for my old artist friend, Mr. Huang Yongyu. Younger than a young boy, older than an old man. This naughty old boy grasped a handful of sweets and bitters, joys and sorrows from his long, long life, put them in his mouth and chews with gusto. He then opened his mouth wide and sprays the flesh and blood jokes onto faces that don't know whether to laugh or cry. He not only a good artist, but also a good writer too. He wrote lots of good books, essays, really very funny, very good, very reflect the situation of China that during his lifetime. He's really a very good one. Thank you. Anyway, I wrote this poem.
Yeah. Do you now, looking back on your own life and from knowing many of these older friends of yours, do you think there is a secret to staying, quote unquote, young as one ages?
Well, yes. I'm so, I think so. Well, right now, I'm 88 or 89 right now, okay? I never thought I could live so long. Before, when I was young, when I was a boy, my body, my really health really bad, very good, not good at all. When I was in grade school, one of the teachers took us one day. He took us for a walk, a hike hiking to next neighbor village, probably 20 miles or so, maybe. And I couldn't walk back. So he has to carry me back on his back. No, you can do it all. Okay. But I think, no, after I went to, I get into poetry and things that really helped me, help my health. Okay, not only is that get me my mind open up more, and then I think that helped a very healthy way. And also I try to do different things too. Okay, so I would think that things that poetry or art or other stuff really good for life. You can just do one thing in your life. Excellent. And I like engineering too. I really love engineering. I wrote probably 200 more papers, scientific papers, published in the magazines. Okay, in my career before my retirement. So I love my engineering career too. But I think in my mind I really like poetry more. Okay, so. I enjoy it more.
And it's kept your mind. At AARP, we've had books and things about the
right.
Sharp. You have to keep your brain engaged. So unfortunately, though, we have friends who have developed dementia. This is a beautiful tribute to your friend.
Yeah, I start from the beginning for a poet friend with dementia. She's in China right now, and living in the hospital. But I couldn't talk to her right now because she cannot take a phone call or anything. So I wrote this one here. Sad to know that you have completely forgotten the games we play together, the things we talk about, not to mention the poems we wrote for each other. Now the question is, how to share the smile you gave me when we first met. It has been blooming in my heart and becoming lustre every day. I would love to transplant at least part of it to your desolate brain. And let's start from the very beginning.
Gorgeous, just gorgeous.
Okay, next poem is called This Morning's Sunshine Was So Wonderful. I set up the easel and enthusiastically started my painting. As soon as I finished covering the canvas with blue sky, a bird flew into the scene. I said, good, you came at the right time. Please move up a little. Yes, that's it. Then a green tree rose from the lower left corner, just in time to meet a passing white cloud. And the squirrels chasing each other were not hard to catch. Soon I had the presentable painting at hand. Yet I felt something was missing, something deep and inharmonious to bring out its purity and innocence. As I was busily mixing some harsh and bleak color, a lonesome old man staggered into the picture and finished my masterwork with a blank stare. Well, I think we need, this world, we not only need happiness, but all with other stuff too, okay? This life should be more complete, not just one thing. So even happiness will not be enough for life, I would think, okay? So we have the other stuff too.
This,
I like the idea. I'm sorry,
no, I'm
Lily.
just saying this.
I like the idea of the painting metaphor. I guess it could be used as a metaphor, where because I can see doing a painting and there's something missing, and it just wanders into the painting to complete it, and you have a bird wandering in and a cloud floating in, and this is really very nicely put together, and I can feel it. I can see it happening.
Exactly. This is poetry in motion. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I try to make the poem move, that moving, alive. It's not just the words. Okay, so.
And yet in life, we have to lose friends and family. So this is a wonderful take on loss.
Okay, I know a Chinese friend's professor. She passed away a few years ago. I wrote this poem, Not the Dirge. I was told that you left this planet to start in another world on eternal life. But somehow in my heart, I can still hear your laughter and see your smiling face. When I open the volumes of your work, I see you standing right there on a platform, speaking to an enthusiastic crowd of students. Even if you are gone, I feel there's not much point in writing a mournful dirge, because I remember these comforting words from a professor. For one who has spent a fruitful life on earth, there is no reason to pity when he leaves this world. Do you think Beethoven and Shakespeare would feel unhappy at the end of their lives? I see you are now joining their ranks with a smile.
Oh, nice. What a beautiful tribute. Beautiful tribute.
The professor I'm mentioning is from University of Wisconsin, Chicago. A professor in University of Chicago. Okay, he said these words. I copy it.
Yeah, very wise. What was his field of study?
I think literature.
Literature, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll have to look him up. Thank you. And yet also we have lost, is this an actual death of a young friend or?
Yeah, yes. Actually, I lost quite a few young friends that on the way, because it's just impossible. In memory of a young friend, perhaps someday your final gesture will be natural and graceful as a leaf dancing in the air. Your last sigh content as ripe fruit falling to the ground, and my heart tranquil as a golden afternoon. Perhaps on that day, I will be ready to let you go.
Nice. Beautiful. Well, we'll remember this friend with you. That's a beautiful tribute. Would you like to take a little bit of water? We've had you speaking for so long.
Okay, well, that's fine. Thank you.
Does anyone have a comment or a question? Because as you see, I sort of curated the slides to reflect movement through a life and towards the end of life. Okay, good. Then we'll go on. I want to honor everyone's time and not.
Okay. The next one is called the Tired Drifter. Stars fly when he hits his nose with his own clenched fist. Even the rise of such a brilliant sky can no longer excite him.
What is the meaning of this for you, Dr. Marr? Was something in life?
Oh yeah, when I was young, I saw somebody that his drifting without any end. Okay, and I think that he even hits his nose. This bright star won't make him happy at all. So that I wrote this one here, I think. Yeah.
Drifter.
But what is this drifter? Who is this?
The drifter. There's in China quite few people, even young, that they don't want to work. They're just drifting around, go to other cities or somewhere else that they just don't want to work, stay home.
Oh, like a vagabond or
what we call a drifter.
Yes.
Okay.
Or someone who's lost in life. This is very powerful. There are many people now, especially. And I just wanted to show that Dr. Marr is so creative. He actually will take scraps and make them into sculpture. And I just wanted to share some, and I can always send more. This one I felt I paired up a visual image, which you didn't necessarily put together, but I felt so the poem is wonderful.
Okay. The sculpture is called the dancer. Okay, it's a dance lady. Old woman, like a worn-out record, the deep grooves on her fair forehead repeat and repeat. I want to live. I want to live. I want to. Now, this poem that's about the groove I'm talking about is a liquor. The old liquor. Now, when you play liquor, that you keep running around and around and around. So I want to live. I want to live. I want to, but no more live. The live is gone. Life is gone. So I stop right there. So it's part of it. Okay.
Human will to keep living is so powerful. And this is a treat for my dear friend Abby, who just loves doggies. You've written the spirit. And then I wanted to show handwritten poetry by Dr. Marr, so you can get an image of how he writes, so that you can see what he would create using the Chinese characters.
Right.
I think I'm going to skip this one, Dr. Marr, and just go towards the end of it.
Okay. The incarnation of a humorist. I am an art walker, and I just died. No sooner had he finished his last words than I heard a baby's first cries. Hi, I'm art walker, and I was just born.
It's fascinating to see how, through the lens of your eyes, you got into American society.
Okay, now the life's fingerprints. This turning and twisting road on my map has brought me here. Every town I have remembered or forgotten, everyone who has passed by or walked with me, the tear of a violet at the roadside, a joyous cry of a lark in the sky, all etched onto the fingers of my life and become my signature. So I wrote all these poems here. Really is part of my life. It's my fingerprint.
May I ask you what age you were when you wrote something like this? Because was it as an older person?
Which one?
The one that we just did. This one.
Not really too old. Well, I think probably middle age.
Interesting. Well, this is the pièce de résistance, the very last one that we will leave you with. It is just beautiful.
Dialogue between a tree and a poet. A tree says, we are more fortunate than humans without having to wait a lifetime for the chance of transmigration. We die in winter and rejuvenate in spring. A poet says, winter and spring, night and day, every heartbeat, every breath, every blink, all are my transmigrations. I die in an obsolete verse and am reborn in a brand new poem. That's all.
Beautiful. Let me stop sharing. I will be able to share any of these slides with everyone afterwards, but I wanted to take us off share so that we can see each other. Thank you, Dr. Marr. That is.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Any feedback or any comments? Jeannie, please, everyone.
Yes. Dr. Marr, I had put in the chat, but of course you were too busy reading your beautiful poems to read it. So I was curious as to what your process is. Do you think and write in Chinese, or do you think in English?
Okay. When I started writing, I use Chinese. Okay. But then I translated into English. But after translation, I found something interesting, that there's some problem in Chinese. So I had to revise my Chinese back and forth until both versions are satisfied. Then I complete. But then later on, sometimes I start with English. After I write the English, I right away translate into Chinese, and then back and forth again. So it's a very interesting process for me in the writing. Is that the bilingual is quite interesting way of writing, because the language is different, the culture is different, all the habit, thinking way of thinking is different. So it's great. Sometimes, most of my poem is not really direct translation. It's not AI's translation.
So you can't.
Okay, it's not AI translation. It's really translation, because I really feel that you cannot really direct translate things because of the culture difference, because all the others language difference. So I think that's the.
Certainly, sometimes there isn't a word in English that you can express the beautiful words that you put down on paper in Chinese.
Yeah.
I have a similar question.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you kind of started in this, well, not from the childhood part, but where you were doing interpretations of poems in an edition of a newspaper. What was that in some kind of a publication? You were interpreting the poems of someone. And my question is, how were you able to marry what that person was trying to write from Chinese to did it mean the same thing in Chinese as it did in English? Or were you able to bring that? I have a question in my head. I just can't quite form it right.
It's difficult. Okay, very difficult.
Yeah.
So I mean, the reader, I think every reader has their own interpretation based on their background, based on their experience, even the time, every environment of the time of the reading can give you different idea or impression.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's impossible that poem, that's called poetry. Poetry, you cannot really, it's not essays. Essays is different.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Poetry is not. You cannot really say 100% clear, interpret. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. The essay has certain structural properties about it. Unless it's iambic pentameter or something like that.
I think that's poetry, different.
But the essay, yeah. Okay, good. Thank you.
Great question, because Dr. Marr, sitting in America, helping the friend to fill a Chinese publication. As a result, he was asked to translate poems from American or British poets into Chinese. Wow, that must have been really amazing. Dr. Marr, I'm just going to ask real quick the concept in Chinese of there's poetry in the painting and painting in the poetry. That's a very well-known Chinese proverb, 诗中有画，画中有诗. What exactly does that mean? And then do you feel that when you're doing one genre or the other?
Yes, actually, I think, most of my poems or most of my paintings, really, each one, lately, last year, a couple of years ago, there's a poet, woman poet in Chinese poet. She liked my paintings, so she wrote poems for each for my paintings and published 2 books. Okay, so but even that, I don't think really that is can I say that is try to find the.
But that's an interesting concept. She took your paintings.
Yeah, this two books.
Wow.
Oops.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the painting. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
There you go. That's it. That's it.
This is one book.
Your paintings that she wrote poetry to.
Yeah, like use my painting to write poetry.
That is fascinating.
Okay, here's another one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then this American poet translate her poem into English.
Oh.
Okay. So this very interesting. But anyway, so I think poetry and painting, there's some connection,
Yes.
but not exact. There's some connection, but you cannot interpret one to one. That's the thing.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Deb, my dear sister friend, because both of us have lost our mothers, whether any of these poems spoke to you. I think for me, what was so powerful about Dr. Marr's is that even in loss, there is still life. And that comes through so clear, even though, you're trained as a scientist, that death is death, but the spirit lives on. And I think that's something that really touched me in each of your poems. How about you, Deb? What struck you?
Well, of course, the poem about to your poet friend with dementia was very poignant. That thinking about she no longer remembers any of the interactions that you had. I thought that was very powerful, and it's poignant, but it is what it is. You have captured it, but there's nothing to be done about it, but you've captured it. And I thought that was beautiful. And then, of course, I was really struck by the story that you told about how you got into poetry and about the teacher taking your essay and making it poetry, and then having the gentleman, your uncle, I think, giving you such support for your work.
Right.
And that's very powerful. Lily and I have talked a lot about the power that has to put into your mind the notion that you can be successful, and that carries you throughout your whole life. Once you believe that you are successful, everything opens for you.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
And that's why
that was a beautiful story.
Beautiful. That's why I had also invited Mr. Charles Williams, because here we are, multicultural community tonight, and his art, which I will share with everyone with a link, so you can see how he has that exact concept in the African American, a grandfather and a grandson just tying a bow tie before they go to church, or the one that he has just recently showed me, rolling dough, where a grandmother, African American grandmother, is in the kitchen and the little boy is standing next. So tonight was such a special evening, but I don't want to extend everyone's time, but I just want to thank you all, because this was truly curated for your enjoyment on a hot summer's day. And then I'm going to ask Mr. Benny, who is our PR guru. We're going to have to help Dr. Marr sell some more books, right? This really take over the world. But seriously, we are able to purchase your books, correct, Dr. Marr? Where?
Yes, on Amazon. You can search Amazon on my name, William Marr. Okay, and you can get especially the autumn window, the one that we did autumn window. You know, Autumn Window I published 1995. And then my first book in English, but the Chicago Tribune have very good review article on that. So they sold the book so fast that next year we have the second edition. Okay, but after that, I didn't have time to go to bookstore to read books, read poems and sell books. And so I still have quite a few copies at home. And I gave it to my son, and he put it on Amazon. Okay, and if you like, you can look up Amazon Autumn Window. Okay, it's Autumn Window, and actually click on the link.
Yes.
If you the link there, take you right there, and you can get the book. Okay, easily.
They're very precious. I'll open it up for any last questions before I ask Dr. Marr to leave us with some words of wisdom about, in retirement, how can we make it more meaningful? Because in America, the society, you leave the workplace and nobody remembers who you are, but you have found meaning and purpose. Please give us a bit of wisdom about how do we make the next stage of our lives so prolific and productive like you have, please?
Well, I think you have to find your own hobby. Okay, you like what you're doing. Serve people, like you serve AARP or whatever, or teach children, do something. Go to school, okay, teach thing, or there's lots of things you can do. Life is so many things you can do. So just find something you like and then do it. That's all. I think this is right.
Is it appropriate if you have one poem in Chinese that you can recite just from memory for us to close out the evening hearing you in your native language? Or if you want to grab a book, you can grab a book.
Okay. Let me see.
Because it's a treat. Because I found it on a Chinese website, seeing your handwriting. I had no idea that you just wrote so quickly the Chinese characters scattered across the page.
Maybe find one that easier to read.
Yeah, just a short one so we can hear your in your native language.
Okay.
Of course, you realize I will not know what he's saying.
Well, that's why I want him to see your art, because your art without any words also says everything.
Okay. Actually, let me read it in English first, then read Chinese. How that? Or which one first?
English first.
Yeah.
No, do the Chinese first.
Okay, let me read Chinese first. 生与死之歌，给濒死的索马利亚小孩。在断气之前，他只希望能最后一次吹杖垂在他母亲胸前那两个干瘪的气球，让他们飞上五彩缤纷的天空，庆祝他的生日，庆祝他的死日。Okay, let me read the English. Oh goodness! I wrote the book is in
just
French. I don't know French.
Oh, just in French.
French translation. Let me find the. Yeah.
Yes, I took French all those years. We should have planned this better. No, but that was neat to hear you speak in Chinese, though.
Okay, well, that's why good enough.
So am I to understand he read in Chinese from French? So you speak French, Chinese.
Oh, French is not my French translation. It's a French poet.
Or a French poet.
Yeah, in France. I never met, but we met online. And he liked my poem so much that he translated my poem and published in
And when
French.
you were about to interpret it just now, you got French version.
In Chinese, English, and French.
So he from the English.
Yeah. Three languages. And also Italians too. The few Italians, Chinese, English, and Italian. They don't know Chinese. They know English. So they translate from English.
Got it.
Both Italians and French to translate from English. Okay.
Dr. Marr, you may not know it, but those of us who grew up in America, there was an I Love Lucy scene, an episode where she and her husband were stuck in some trip and they only spoke, and they got captured, they got caught to go to the police station. So they did like Italian to Spanish, Spanish to English and back. So it's wonderful the way that you had all these different languages working together. So I'll try and find that scene, but maybe that's the best way to leave, is to say that there really is a universal language in the emotions that you had actually shared with us and your beautiful poems. Thank you so much, everybody, taking time out of it. Any last words of thanks to Dr. Marr? Please feel free to unmute.
May I say, I've talked enough, but just one more thing. I do so hope that with the diversity of your art, the poetry, the painting, that, and I say this speaking from just attending this Generations United conference and the need to do an intergenerational connect, I do so hope that your work is connecting with younger generations, because there is information in what you're doing. There's passion and a different perspective in what you're doing that I think must be continued. And your story about how you got started by the inspiration of an individual, which is the way I got started. Someone saw a piece of my work when I was no more than 4 or 5 years old and said, "Oh, that's beautiful. You're a genius." And from that point, I thought I was a genius. And someone apparently told you that your work was great as a little child, and it inspired you. So what you have and what you're sharing with us is really inspirational. And I hope you're sharing it with others.
Thank you. You know that I served as the Illinois State Poetry Society president in 1990s. Okay, and so right now I still have connection with the Illinois State Poetry Society. Okay, and so even right now we still go to workshop.
Good.
Yeah, okay. Every month we still have a workshop together, and so I still have connection with them. Yeah.
Dr. Marr, as a gift to you, what I'm going to do is send you a copy of the book of our dear friend Deb Kanja, and look for it, because the camp where the boys that her late parents helped to mentor was called Camp Flying Eagle. So you can enjoy it. Maybe you can paint an eagle for us, because that was exactly what her parents did, was that, all these boys came from all over and they made a difference because they gave them affirmation and, just love. And so it'll be my honor to send you that book.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, everyone, thank you so much. This was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Dr. Marr.
Thank you, guys.
Dr. Marr.
Dr. Marr, Lily.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Good night, everybody. Thank you. I'll put together and send it to everybody. Thank you. If there's any way that we can bring his poetry to your important work about end of life, please let me know, because it would be an honor to help the, especially Chinese Americans don't talk about, death and all. Teacher Bing, if you want to just say a few words, you two are, look at Dr.
Oh, I just say that. I just said in Chinese, 谢谢 Dr. Ma. 你的诗写得太好了。
谢谢.
And do you see Teacher Bing? That's his calligraphy behind him. What he does is he takes color and he takes all these different images. I will send everybody the video. He has so kindly volunteered 3 times.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my hobby, doing some Chinese calligraphy. Yeah.
And he also, is with the children. So maybe we'll do this again, because it's my dream that we share more about what people are doing in retirement, because I think each one of you have been so, so amazing. So I wanted to build a community so you all can share and get together. I can always host a Zoom and we can have you all talk and, talk. So Dr. Marr, thank you so much. And to all of you, happy Father's Day again. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah, thank you.
谢谢。
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Marr. 谢谢您的那个，先把它